Hey, it's time for the Inquiry Lab on equivalent expressions. So, let's start by reading the problem at the top. It says, Derek and his friends bought tickets for the dirt bike rally. The cost of each ticket was X dollars. Derek bought 2 tickets on Saturday and 3 tickets on Sunday. They paid $4 for parking. The expression 2x plus 4 plus 3x represents the total cost in dollars of the dirt bike rally. All right, now our investigation says to simplify the expression 2x plus 4 plus 3x using algebra tiles. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the steps, and I want you to do this with me. So in step 1, it says choose tiles to represent each addend. Use blank x tiles to model 2x. So let me enlarge this a little bit. So here is a 2x, so we're going to use 2x tiles. Use blank 1 tiles to model 4, where we're going to use 4 1 tiles. These are my 4 1 tiles here. And blank x tiles to model 3x. So we're going to use 3x tiles to model 3x. So this expression right here, or that models our expression. We have 2x plus 4 plus 3x. Remember, that's the expression we started with. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to simplify this expression. So in step 2, it says to find like terms. This is something that's really important in our lesson. It says the like terms are blank and blank because they are both x tiles. So the like terms are the 2x and the 3x because they are both x tiles. There are a total of 5 x tiles and 4 1 tiles. Now, in step 3, it says to draw the algebra tiles in the space below, placing all like terms together. So here's what I think of. I think of this as like a messy locker. You've got x tiles scattered all over and 1 tiles. And when we simplify, what we're doing is we're cleaning it up and we're grouping and organizing everything that's alike together. So for the 2x tiles, I'm going to draw them here. And the 3x tiles, I'm going to group with them, which gives me 5x tiles. Now the 4 1 tiles are already grouped together here. Okay, so notice instead of having our x tiles on opposite sides, where all the x tiles are together, all the 1 tiles are together, which is what we want. Now in step 4, we're going to rewrite that expression using addition to combine the like terms. So it says 2x plus 4 plus 3x equals, well, now look at what we have. We have 5 x's together plus 4 1's together. By the way, we cannot add these together because they're not like terms. You can't add x tiles with 1 tiles. So yeah, you keep them. This is as simple as you can get, 5x plus 4. So now on to the next page. We're going to do some of these together. So I'm going to do 1 with you, and then I'm going to have you try 2. Now in 1, we're going to start by drawing the algebra tiles. So in 1, we have 1 x tile. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. We have 1 x tile. Do this with me. Then we have 4 x tiles. And then we have 1 x tile. Okay, so that represents our expression x plus 4x plus x. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to group those all together. Now, notice they're all x tiles. So if we group them all together, here is our x, here's our 4x, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then our last x. We now have them, since they're all x tiles, we can group those together. So our simplified expression is going to be 6x. We can add all of them together because they're all like terms. Now, if you were doing this without tiles, here's what you would say. By the way, usually when I see x, I think of it as 1x, because look it down, isn't that 1x? So since they're all x tiles, we can add them. We would say I have 1x plus 4x is 5x plus 1 more x would get me 6x. Okay? You can add all x tiles together. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do problem 2. So first, actually, we'll start it with you. Let's draw the 4x do this with me. And then the 7 ones. And then the 2 x tiles. So get that drawn with me. You could pause the video if you need a little more time to draw that. Okay, now here's what you are to do. Your job is to take this and group all of the x tiles next to each other and all of the 1 tiles next to each other, and then to write that as an simplified expression on this blue line. Now, if you're really stuck, you can do it with me, but I'd rather you try it on your own and restart the video. So, pause the video, restart it when you're ready. Go. Okay, let's see how you did. So if I group all my x tiles together, I'm going to start with the 4 x's. That would be these x's right here. But then I'm going to draw these 2 x's next to it. Because remember, I want all my x tiles together. And then I'm going to draw my 7 ones over here. Remember, think of this like organizing your locker into a very neat, organized space. Now, I asked you then to take your expression and write it over on the blue line. So what you do is these here, you now have 6x plus our 7 ones, which is just 7. So this here is our expression simplified. Now, to show you how you would do it without the algebra tiles, which is what we'll be focusing on tomorrow, is let me erase it so you can see it from scratch. Here's what you would say. You would say, all right, I'm going to simplify my like terms. My 4x plus my 2x, I can add together and get 6x. But 7 is not a like term, so I can't add that with the 6. So I just put plus 7. And notice that is exactly what my algebra tiles say over there. All right, so now, here's what we're going to do in 3 and 4. We're going to do them a little bit differently. So in 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify the expression without tiles. And then I'm going to draw the tiles to see if I was right. So let's get started and I'll show you what I mean. Because then you're going to do 4 just like that. So let me erase that line. So in 3, here's what I have. Remember, when I have x, I like to put a little 1 in front of it so I know it's 1x. So I can combine my 1x with my 3x to get 4x. But then I have to keep the plus 1 separate because it's not a like term. Okay, so my expression should be 4x plus 1. Now let me show you how that would work with the tiles. Remember, I would start with my 1x plus my 1 tile, then my 3x's. So this is what the original expression would look like. This is my x plus my 1 plus my 3x. And in my tiles, I would then organize them. So I would organize my 1x together with my 3x's. And then my 1 tile is by itself. And notice my expression would be 4x plus 1, which is exactly what I had here. All right, so now, in number 4, here's what I want you to do. Yeah, now let's do this one together because it looks a little different. First off, this, if you notice, should look like distributive property. See 2 times x plus 2 in parentheses. So whenever you see one in distributive that looks like distributing, you do want to distribute it. That's how you simplify it. So what I want you to do first is distribute 2 times the x and 2 times the 2 and write that down here. Okay, go ahead and do that. If you need to pause the video, go ahead. All right, let's see if you had it. Did you do 2 times x, which is 2x, plus 2 times 2, which is 4? Okay, now that should be our answer in simplest form, but let's show you how it looks with the tiles. Now remember, this means 2 times x plus 2 means 2 groups of x plus 2. So here's my x plus my 2. Remember, there's 2 groups of that though. So there's one group of x plus 2, and here's my second group of x plus 2. Okay, so remember, that's my two groups of x plus 2. Here's my two groups. Now when I simplify it, I just group all my x tiles together and all my 1 tiles together. So I start with putting those two x's together, and then each group had two 1s, so I put those together, and notice I get 2x plus 4, which is exactly what I have here. All right, so the last one you're going to do with me is number 5. Okay, this one is kind of fun when you get the hang of them. They're tricky at first. So let's read it and then we'll talk about it. It says, Maggie is X years old. Her brother DeMarco is 4 years older than her, and Anna is 3 times as old as DeMarco. Write and simplify an algebraic expression to represent Anna's age. Explain. Well, let's go through. I'll show you the trick for doing these. We're going to make kind of a table. We're going to make one for Maggie, and then her brother DeMarco, and then her sister Anna. Now in the end, it says write and simplify an expression that represents Anna's age. So whatever we have here in the end is going to be our expression for Anna. Okay, then we just have to simplify it. So let's start here. First off, it says Maggie is X years old. So just put an X next to Maggie. That's how old she is. Then we'll talk about DeMarco. It says her brother DeMarco is 4 years older than her. So for DeMarco, if DeMarco is 4 years older than Maggie, that would be 4 plus X. Okay, so here's what we have so far. We have Maggie's age is X. DeMarco is 4 plus X because he's 4 years older than her. And then it says Anna is 3 times as old as DeMarco. So what we're going to do is we're going to take DeMarco's age. Remember, DeMarco is 4 plus X. And Anna is 3 times as old as that. So we put it in parentheses and multiply it by 3. Does that make sense if she's 3 times as old as DeMarco? So this is our expression for Anna's age. Remember I said that's what we have there will be part of our answer. So 3 times 4 plus X. But now we have to simplify that. Okay, so what we're going to do, notice that looks like distributive property. So we start with doing 3 times 4, which is 12. And then we do 3 times x, which is 3x. So this expression represents Anna's age in simplest form, 12 plus 3x. All right. So that's it for this video. I hope it helped. If you have any questions, as always, make sure you ask me. Thanks, guys.